Fire Rapido.
Fire Rapido. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talk of the Trades. I'm joined by the one and only, first of his name, Aaron Bartholomew Waters. Is that your middle name? Did I get it right?
It's just Nathan, very
Nathan.
close. Yeah, I think
Hey,
that's
okay.
the Greek translation, Bartholomew. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't know why I just got Bartholomew vibes in that moment. So
I love it. I'm
awesome.
down.
Cool. Today, for sure, we're going to talk about some LSA secrets that we've been learning. So we recently joined a mastermind group, have some folks helping us there. So LSA has always been that black box. So getting some more info is going to be good. Talk about some GBP updates. So also part of a GBP kind of mastermind group as well. So learning some new things there. I have Claude Code on here.
Yeah.
You guys, all the TikToks I've been sending you super late night on all that. So maybe we want to talk about that. I feel like we haven't talked about AI in a while. So.
No, we really haven't.
Okay. Then if we have some time, we'll talk about some client winbacks and then potentially a partnership that we have struck with another person in the kind of industry that we'll talk about. So if we get to that, that'll be good. If not, you'll have to tune in next time. So.
Yeah.
And again, rapid fire episode. We're trying to get through this in like 20 minutes. We got kiddos to pick up. So don't want to jeopardize your Father of the Year
I
status.
know,
It's
yeah.
only January, so.
I can't lose it this early.
I know, right? Okay, let's talk about some of the LSA kind of secrets or just things that we've learned in terms of best practices. And to kind of set the stage, as most contractors know, LSA is a bit of a black box. It's kind of a set it and pray type of thing. I wouldn't say set it and forget it because the disposition and kind of monitoring leads and all that stuff is important. But I know you've been working on this, Aaron. So what are some of the big things that we can share with folks to help them understand and give them more visibility?
Yeah, a couple big things. Like last year we got connected with the actual Google team that works on the LSA product. So we've been getting better reports from them. And just reading between the lines of what's real, what's actually valuable, and what's not. And then also just learning a little bit more with some of the connections we have. Really validating 95% of what we've been doing, but then there's like a 5% little things here that you can do to tank a profile. And one of the things that we've talked about, we've known for years, got validation on it, though through some of the Google product managers. Pausing LSA ads is gonna really tank a profile, and we'd experienced it back when we had Snowmageddon here. One of our clients shut theirs down, and then just weren't able to recreate or get that profile back up and running. Best practices on something like that: if it's dead for 30 days or more, just create a new one because profile. We've always thought about like Google Business Profiles. The history of that profile carries weight.
Yep.
With LSAs. Not at all.
Right.
It does not carry any weight. It's all about recency, responsiveness. When our guys meet with Google, Google's always going to say, add a new service area, make sure you're opted in all the categories and businesses, and then open up the hours. And really that's all reach tactics. They just want to try to spend as much money as possible and open it up. They don't realize our service businesses probably don't do duct cleaning all the time. It's kind of one of those things that some contractors do. So it's become really a game of reading between the lines when Google gives us advice. Is it something that actually is going to help the client or not? The other stuff is just a lot of basic routine things like, photos, regularly updating photos, doing that once a week, once every other week. The big KPI that most people have known for a while is of course phone responsiveness.
Yep.
Everybody says they answer the phone, but actually putting a number to that, we're reporting a little bit more regularly to clients and letting them know. What I didn't know, I had assumed that SMS messaging and message responses was factored into it, and it is not. So phone responsiveness, it's all just over the phone here. So anyway, we sent out, there's a big storm coming through the Midwest here, actually across the east side too. But telling our clients, hey, on your LSAs, don't pause them. If you want to throttle back, if you can't handle the call volume, lower your daily budget or your weekly budget to just your cost per lead, but keep the profile up and running. Google doesn't like knowing that we're just willing to quit when things get tough. So keep the profile up and running. Also, if you're a service area business, this is an opportunity to win because there will be people that get stressed out and they pause their Google ads, the LSAs. This is an opportunity as people leave that auction for you to win them. So just make sure that your team can answer the phone in under 30 seconds and get contact information so your database is clean and you guys are able to contact them in the future.
Nice.
It's an opportunity.
Heck yeah. Speaking of opportunities, let's try to get a nice juicy like clip here. So I was just thinking like, okay, here's a clip, right? So here are the absolutely do not do things for Google LSA. Number one, do not ever change your name, because once you change your name, it nukes your profile and you basically start from zero. Number two, never change your address, because once you change your address, absolutely nukes your profile. And number three, you just said it and I forgot it. What is it?
Don't pause it.
Oh, yeah, never pause your ads. There's a clip.
There you go.
All right, your turn. You do the what you should absolutely do on GLS. I think you just touched on another one.
Yeah.
Phone responsiveness, whatever.
Yeah. Answer the phone 30 seconds or less.
Wait. You got to start it with
Okay.
like, this is what you absolutely have to do on LSAs.
Here are the things you absolutely have to do on Google LSAs. Answer the phone in under 30 seconds. The quickest you can, the best. Make sure you're active in the platform. Write back the customer name, whether it was booked. Give Google all the data you can. And then three, I would say, gosh dang it, I'm not great at the clips off the spot, but keep your profile updated and active, add photos, keep activity on there, and then do automated bidding.
Nice.
4.
Heck yeah. The other thing that is kind of was intriguing to me that I had no idea about, you talked about the metrics phone responsiveness, right? And in my experience in the kind of LSA back end, there's not like a lot of metrics that show there. But we learned that through the API, you can pull these kind of quote unquote hidden metrics. So would you describe them as like hidden metrics? Or I guess that's one question. But the other question, like, when you're measuring phone responsiveness, like what's the best way to, I guess, like keep an eye on it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely API, like we've got Swido or any kind of reporting connection. You can build a Google Data Studio report that shows your phone responsiveness.
Okay.
That's the most important one, and really that's the priority. Secondarily, and most of our clients don't run into this, but if your budget is constrained, so we got a report this morning, which budgets or which accounts have a constrained budget. Typically that's on purpose. Like a foundation repair company that's spending through the ears, they might not want to just spend an infinite amount of money, but you could be harming your account or losing out on leads if you don't open that up.
So is that a metric, constrained budgets, or how do you, okay. So phone responsiveness, constraint budgets can be pulled through the API, and for somebody who maybe doesn't want to invest in a like a platform for reporting, you say Google Data Studio. You can
Google
use?
Data Studio is good, yeah. And it's not gonna, the last isn't gonna impact your ad quality score as far as the constraint budget, but it will give you opportunities that maybe you weren't having before.
Yeah, from an impression standpoint and all that, because even with our reporting tool, Swido, you can pull in impressions, clicks, click-through rate, that stuff, but even there, phone responsiveness, I've never seen that in there, or the metric you mentioned in terms of budget constraints. So I think API is the way to go on that. And then, what are some ways? So let's say we pull that metric, we benchmark it, and it's like 10%. You got any tips on like how to improve the phone responsiveness? Like what are you thinking on that?
Yeah, I mean, you should improve your phone responsiveness on all tactics. So you should probably be reviewing everything, even outside of LSA. So make sure that you're testing your phones regularly, that you're using a tool like we have Lead Pulse to grade phone calls coming in. Make sure that you're getting them, because there are even clients that, I spoke to one this morning before this freeze coming in, and wanted to open up LSA budget for them because they're about to get hit. But at the same time, I looked at the last 5 phone calls and they didn't book any of them because they couldn't do same day appointments. And so also just monitoring and making sure, are you staffed to do it? Because this is also a client that's telling us they want more leads.
Yeah.
So got to honor the ones that you're getting, got to make sure that you're able to serve them in the right days, because you might be able to push some clients off that are more routine to get to the urgent calls.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So yeah, those are some of the things we've been learning on LSAs. More to come as we work with these folks. But it seems like it's been super beneficial because I think for all of our clients, everybody wants to spend as much money on LSA. But like we said, there's just some that for whatever reason, I guess now we understand some of those reasons, they just don't take off. Or they were doing really well at one point and then changed their name, whether it was a rebrand, and so they were impacted. But nonetheless, more to come on LSA stuff as we learn things there. So,
Yeah.
cool. GBP update. So one thing that came to my mind on this one, and we might have talked about it before a little bit, but now it's starting to, I think, roll out into additional markets. We actually got a question from one of our clients in the foundation space about it, but Google going out and calling HVAC companies and plumbers on your behalf to get quotes, which I think is really interesting because in my experience, CSRs have always been trained not to give pricing over the phone, right? But also what's kind of funny is like, are we going to have bots talking to bots, right? With, the different, systems that are out there like Broccoli AI and all those kind of virtual CSRs. So that's interesting. So I think just at a high level, be on the lookout for that in your market and see potentially what it's gonna do overall. But what are some of the other things that you've been learning?
Yeah, I mean, with that in mind of the AI, talking to AI, like GBP is gonna be your business directory, and it's gonna carry more value than the website when it comes to Google's AI itself, from my perspective. Like the description in your GBP only allows 750 characters. I do expect that to jump up within the next year. So what you're putting in your description and what you're filling out as far as the amenities and every single thing on your GBP, the way, like we're saying the same thing to our clients that we were a year ago. I think the lens is different. When you're filling this out, think of it as, what does AI need to know about you and your company to be able to chat without your CSRs being involved? And so I'm even coaching our team on now in the GBP descriptions. It used to be just business name, how long have we been in business, what do we do, let's do a general description. I also want to know, are our technicians NATE certified? Are we a Mitsubishi Elite dealer or diamond contractor? Are we A+ with the BBB? The more badge bait and ego baiting that you can put into your business description, the more Google then sees you as ahead of the game. And so we want to kind of manipulate that. Another thing that we look at is like your services. In the past, we've been told, and we've been telling our clients, put every service you can under your categories and just put them all in there. In reality, we need to match the website as well. So don't just throw a bunch of services, like have AC maintenance under multiple categories. Be very clear and transparent, and clean up that data, because that's what Google's using as your Rolodex. And do pricing, absolutely.
Yeah, I was super intrigued when you had put together like a spreadsheet of all this checklists on different things, and there was questions that I didn't even know, were in there, like the stuff about being, LGBTQ friendly, and answering that whether you are or not, just so they understand, because I'm sure that's important to some people one way or the other. So things like that, it's just like all these questions that people might have overlooked before are so important to do now. And why do you think that is? Is it because of like AI's like thirst for knowledge and its ability to be able to like parse through that and give you better answers? Because now it's just, not Google, it's like all the other LLMs. What do you think like the importance is overall?
I mean, I think the tendency for a lot of businesses is we just want to say yes, 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 yes. We're all of these things. We identify as Asian owned because that might be an area to get ahead, even if you're not. I think it's just the clarity and making sure that even if you're not, select no. There's a lot of parking questions, and so I think it's more so there are real people asking these questions, and it is important to a subset of people, I'm sure. And it's just better to be clear and transparent about it. Don't let Google guess. If you don't have I'm even saying, like, if you don't have a paid parking garage, don't see that as a negative. See that as just reality. Like, nobody's searching for that, right? Well, some people might be if they're going downtown, but not to an HVAC company.
Yeah, and to that point, like, I think the algorithms or the language models are going to be so smart, or the agents that are scraping, they know like, okay, most HVAC companies don't have, parking garage, right? And so it's like one additional signal that can let them know, am I going in the right place, right? Because if 95% of HVAC companies don't have one, then they're probably by default going to eventually ignore the ones that maybe have that, right? Potentially. But okay, cool. What else on the GBP side? Anything else kind of sticking out?
Darren Shaw, I love from White Spark. I love anytime he puts out content. So I'll share his stuff too.
Shout out Darren Shaw. Come on the podcast.
He's awesome. I love what they're doing. He mentioned Instagram posts coming up in Google as well.
Yes,
and so,
I've been seeing that as well.
And I think it's really important, just as you look at your social citations and what you're adding onto Google, to make sure it's the right one. And so I was auditing an account, and we had like the LinkedIn from the holding company, not the actual local business. And so just making sure that that's accurate. But just know that what you're posting on Instagram, if it's timely, if it's regular, if it's offer based, it's getting indexed, and it's super important.
Do you have any insights on what type of Instagram posts get indexed? Is it by like the amount of engagement they have? Is it recency? Is it just pulling like the last 5? Do you have any insights on that?
From what I could tell, it's recency and it's posts. It's not the stuff that goes away. It's not the stories. It's the posts.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I actually saw that when I was like just searching a random like tattoo shop. And it was so convenient because from searching for that, it's such a visual kind of thing. And I think I was able to go down like another pipeline of like an about this business to understand like if I would trust them, right? And I think what we've heard, I think we heard it kind of from Rob McCann when we had him on the podcast about, what do customers care about the most? And he was telling us typically it's not price, it's always, can I trust this company to like do a good job and not mess up my house type of thing. And so being able to have that like additional avenue to get to a place where you can have more content that can explain that, not necessarily like long form, but when we are looking at the SERP, it's all so like heavy word based, right? And I think people out there are like, they talk about multimodal learners, like how do you learn best, or how do you consume? But then, when you start thinking about our consumer behavior, like everything is gone to like vertical videos, TikTok, Reels, Shorts, and we've been conditioned that way. And so it makes a lot of sense that, that's a component now, and we are getting driven towards that, or at least have the opportunity to look at that stuff.
Yeah, that, and then the metadata of urgency and scarcity is also important, and that's where as more not agencies but more businesses bring marketing in-house, or at least components of marketing in-house, like the community building side, I think is really important from an SEO standpoint. Like if you have somebody that's your culture person in-house, are they putting events out on Facebook, or are they putting events where you can have the metadata say, this is where we are, this is where we're going to be, because Google's also looking for timeliness and things that are happening from an event base. So
unpack that metadata thing a little bit more. So like when you're talking about that, is that like, having good clean captions, and or is there something more technical like to that?
Yeah, so if it's on your website, like there's a lot of things with SEO plugins that we can write actual schema that wraps events to tell Google exactly what they are. Facebook events does the same thing. So if you put a Facebook event on your page, there's metadata that shows Google and all the bots that are crawling exactly what that is. But also they're smart enough to know if you have something formed as a time, location, and event name, even if it's in like written text, they can crawl, and those 3 things together can be seen as, of course, an event. There's some simple ways to do it, but just being active and local, I think, is something that we're looking for a lot more from our clients.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I think you brought it up a ton of times. It's just also the opportunity to be involved in these like local community groups and all that, and that's, I know, something we're still trying to figure out, and how does that stuff get managed. But interesting to see how the world of social is infiltrating the SERPs even more and more. And I think we saw it. If you consider Yelp a social platform, they're kind of owning like the blue links nowadays, but the fact that Google is opening up their like profile, their Google business profiles to take you offsite that's not a Google property, right? In this case, we're talking about Instagram, so super fascinating to see that they're, willing to, I guess, relinquish some of that control.
Yeah, and I think in the same way, something we talked about with GBP is like chamber memberships. That's OG stuff we used to talk about in SEO,
Yep.
like get listed with the chamber. Looking at it from a different lens, what it is now is its local credibility. And so if we're able to then say, if you're in the city of New Braunfels and you're a member of the New Braunfels Chamber of Commerce, mentioning that high up on the page of your New Braunfels landing page will help get your GBP better visibility. So it's not just we're telling people to join stuff so they could spend $500 a year for their local community. It's that those things need to be vetted, and it's an investment in your local community, but we have to make sure it's seen on the website properly too.
Yeah, and I consider you like an OG SEO. Like you've been in SEO since day one, and that's how Leadhub was essentially built, right? So I find it like super interesting that it's like what was once like tried and true principles. Maybe we got like away from a little bit because we were focusing on other things, and then now it seems like we're coming back to full circle, and it's like, oh well, like backlinks are the right type of backlinks are super important again. Being involved in these like community organizations that we can cite is important again. So I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, but
I just think
it's
like
important.
super interesting.
Yeah, and it's like it's the same thing, just a different lens. Back in the day, we would use those because that was the easiest way to build a backlink that didn't look black hat, right? Because that's how Google dictated that you're a real business, was by links.
Gotcha.
Then that got abused. All the black hat tactics that happened, then people got penalized. Well, what's still around now?
Yeah.
The community based, like blogs are not valued as much anymore. But it's in the same way that bounce rate used to be a big deal for Google, where if you had a high bounce rate, you wouldn't be doing well. Now, actually, a long time on site actually is probably a bad UX for a home service company, because it's saying they don't know what they're doing here. They're sitting on your service page and they haven't called or submitted a form. This is a bad UX if they're on your website as long as they are. So
it's crazy.
Those are things to check out.
Cool.
Yeah.
I just saw we have a 2-minute warning, so let's end with something positive. So we have our client winbacks on here. So super excited to share. Like we got Connecticut, San Antonio back. We had a decade-long partnership with them. They decided to try some other partners, couple, and then kind of made it back to us. That was awesome. And then I know one that you're particularly excited about is Gotelli, so plumbing company, kind of out of the North San Francisco area, right? They went and tried, I think, another agency as well, and they're back, baby.
Yep,
so
they're back.
What do you always? What's your saying that you always say? Because I love this.
I always say we want to love our clients on the way out, just like we loved them on the way in. And we don't have a massive sales engine. We're not sponsoring a bunch of events. We're really not bringing in a ton of new leads. We really grow through referrals. And so it hurts whenever a client leaves, of course, but you got to suck it up and say, hey, we get it. Let's give you all the assets. Here you go. Hopefully we'll see you in a year. And we've been seeing it more frequently. And so excited to have them back, some of our crowd favorites. And just getting it going. And I mean, it's sad to see the progress, of course, that you put in and where they were and where they are now and some of the things tactically that were done. But we've got confidence in the relationship, and that's why I know with a couple of those we stayed in front of them, weren't overly pushy, but just kind of nudged them every now and then, asking how they're doing, and we're very excited to have those people back. We've got a few more in the pipeline. So.
Heck yeah.